Hello beautiful people and welcome to the last video of 2026. As you can see, this old cupboard will need a Christmas miracle to make anything decent out of it. This is a very basic flat pack type of furniture and it's very beat up, but I've got a plan to make it look awesome. Let's see what I can do. For this special Christmas video, I wanted to find a piece of furniture that most people either have in their homes or they can easily access for free or very cheap, and show you what you can do with it. This is gonna make sanding much easier. This one is worn out, so I'm just gonna use one of the other holes and reattach this. Because this was an old piece of furniture and some of the sliders were loose, I tightened all the screws just to make sure that they were nice and secure. I'm also going to add an extra screw in the middle just to make sure this isn't wobbly. I'm not going to remove the runners because I don't really need to sand this. This is going to be inside. And what I mean by that is that there is an identical piece with sliders on it and the drawers go in between, so you'll never see that. So there is no reason to sand it because it's in good condition. But I do need to sand this edge because it will be exposed and I will need to stain it. And I also need to scrape off and sand all the white paint. And in case you're wondering why I'm scraping this before sanding, it's to simply save on sandpaper, but also it just makes the sanding easier and a bit quicker. I feel like the sanding might take a while, so I pulled out the big boy. I think this is gonna help me get this done quicker. And to be fair, it did make it quicker, but not a whole lot, so in case you're thinking about spending £600 or £700 on this sander, I'm not sure if it's worth it. And because this is a special Christmas video, I do have a Christmas sanding montage. Enjoy!
A few moments later.
If you're struggling to come up with the perfect gift for someone you love for this holiday season, Bombas might be the answer. They are a long-term sponsor of my channel and they make very comfortable and durable socks for pretty much any occasion. Your casual everyday socks that are super comfortable, and these are probably the ones that I use the most often. They make sports socks which are extra thick on the bottom and have some cushioning. They're just awesome for working out. But they also make compression socks, so if you're going to go on a long flight or if you simply don't move a lot and your legs get swollen, those are perfect for you. The thing I like the most about Bombas is that every time you buy a pair of socks, they donate one to someone experiencing homelessness. And especially in this Christmas season, it just feels really good to know that every time you buy something from Bombas, they will gift it to someone in need. And it just feels like you're doing something good. Bombas socks are super comfortable. They use cashmere and merino wool blend, which means that your feet are going to thank you. And what's the most important is that they're Mando approved, so that's what really matters to me. Your socks also come with 100% happiness guarantee if you need to send them back for whatever reason. At this point, Bombas, they've donated 150 millions of items to people in need. So if you're looking for a gift for someone special this Christmas or for yourself, follow the link in the description or the QR code on the screen and get yourself or someone else a pair of Bombas socks, or a few pairs, because you will definitely like them. And thank you to Bombas for sponsoring this video and supporting creators like myself and local communities. Who should get these, huh? I hope you enjoyed my special Christmas Sunday montage and a short break from the sponsor. And now back to work. All the drawers, the top and the bottom, had a decorative edge that was full of paint that is typically a lot of work to remove, so I decided to use a routing bit that would change the edge slightly and also remove the paint at the same time. And here you can see what I'm talking about. So not only I'm changing the shape of the edge because I wanted to get rid of the paint, I also wanted to make it a bit different so it would work better with my design that I had in mind. And of course I had to repeat it on the bottom piece and all the drawers so they all look the same. I will also do it on the door, but first I need to make it because I don't like the old one. The design on it just looks very dated and it's not gonna work for what I want to do with it. I also cleaned all the sliders because they were full of dust and old stuff. The original door is just really ugly. I don't like it and it's not gonna work with my idea, so I need to make new door. Luckily, I saved this piece from a TV stand that I used to have in my room, and I think it's going to be absolutely perfect for this purpose. And because I had the old door, I simply used it as a template, marked all the cuts, and pops your uncle. Because the new door is almost the same size as this, I'm going to use this bit and basically use this as a template and cut off the remaining bit, just to make sure that it's exactly the same size. Because we want everything to fit nicely and because I'm a professional. Because these are tongue and groove boards, this isn't, well, it's straight-ish, but it isn't perfect, which it isn't a big deal for what I'm doing, but I think I'm going to add 2 more of these just to keep it as straight as possible. And because I've got two exactly like these that are on the piece that I cut off, I can use these. And also, those boards are not glued together, so I do need to add those pieces to keep them together. I also unscrewed the old pieces, I sanded everything underneath and put them back on. The way this door is put together is pretty basic, but that's how it was made originally, and the only difference is that I'm using tongue and groove boards, and this is actually something that's gonna make my idea a bit easier to execute, and you'll see why in a little bit. But basically I need a door that's completely flat without any borders or floating panels or anything like that, because otherwise this idea wouldn't work. Now I just need to change the edge to something more fancy, sand the front, and Bob's your uncle. And as I mentioned before, the edge that I'm making right now is exactly the same as on the top, the bottom and the drawers, just so it all looks the same. By the way, subscribing is completely free, and half of you watching my videos are not subscribers, so if you do like my content, please do subscribe, so maybe YouTube will show you the next time I post a video, because otherwise they definitely will not. Also, as always, huge shout out to the channel members, you guys are the best, and thank you to everyone for watching my videos, liking and commenting, that means a lot and allows me to do what I do. Good morning, beautiful people. I've just come back from a local hardware store and I picked up two of these so I can replace the board on the back of this cupboard, because the old one was a bit destroyed and there was like duct tape and all sorts of stuff. So I've got two new pieces, and because I've got the whole carcass cleaned up, I can pretty much start putting it together. This is what the door looks like, and I'm not done with it. I'm gonna do one more thing that will completely change the look of it, and I think that by leaving a little bit of this old patina or old finish will give me the look that I want. I think I know how to put this back together, and I've added some dowels to make it as strong as possible, because some of them were missing. At this point, I'm pretty much just putting this back together and making it look like it used to, just much nicer and newer, but I'm about to do something that will completely change its look. That's all nice and tight, so now I can do the bottom. I used the old piece as a template just to make sure this is exactly the size it needs to be. And now I just need to cut two pieces, replace the old ones, and Bob's your uncle. Perfect. Even without the back, with all the extra dowels and the screws tightened, it's already pretty sturdy. With the new back and lots of staples, there will be no wobble whatsoever. Ideally, I would want to just use one large piece for the whole back, but this was actually how it was made originally, with two pieces, and I couldn't find anything that was wide enough, so that's what I did. I would say that was enough staples to keep it nice and secure. And now with the new back on, I can use my laser thingy from Laser Packer to put my logo on it. This is in no way sponsored, but I've been using this for a long time to engrave my logo on my pieces, and it's actually pretty useful. Alright, now I need to fix all the drawers that need fixing. And because this is in pieces, I'm going to clean this before I put it together, just to make it easier for myself. Even though I'm only going to show you a couple of the drawers, I replaced some of the dowels that needed replacing. I re-glued all of them, and I took every single one of them apart and cleaned it inside and out. I think I'm going to keep this project for myself because I really like it, and I'm not going to put any wax or any oil inside the drawers. I'll only do the fronts because I like it natural and I like the smell of wood. And now with everything sanded, I can do the tricky bit, which will completely change the look of this piece and will make it look awesome. To make sure that all the lines that I'm about to cut are straight and it's a bit easier to do it, I added a small board to the fence on my router. If you are a regular viewer on my channel, you probably have seen me do something similar, but this is just something that I really enjoy doing, and it makes a huge difference to the piece, and I felt like that's what I needed for Christmas. I also wanted to show you what you can do with the router and not a whole lot of skills, because this isn't terribly complicated what I'm doing. It just needs a little bit of practice and you can transform a very basic and cheap piece of furniture into a real showstopper. And this, my friends, is my Christmas gift to you. There is a bunch of variables that you can change, but this is just a blueprint for how to do it, and you'll see towards the end of the video what I'm talking about. These look okay, but I think they're gonna look much better if I repeat this way. I think it's just gonna look more convincing. Now I need to do something similar on the door, and I think I'm just going to use my truck as a fence. I'm creating an illusion of spaces between drawers, and I'm using the natural gaps between the tongue and groove boards, plus cutting some extra ones. And the idea is to make the door look like there's a whole bunch of tiny drawers of different sizes. And now I just need to figure out how I want to divide this horizontally. To make it easier, I made two spaces from plywood, but I wanted a variety of sizes on the door, so I didn't want to just have a mirror image of what I was going to do with the drawers. And I know that some people are not going to like it because it won't be symmetrical, but hold your judgment and trust the process. I changed my mind a few times before I started cutting, but I wanted to make sure I liked the placement and how it looked. And a few cuts later, I had something that looked like a bunch of tiny drawers. So the door is almost done. I just need to do some sanding, and I'm actually going to sand this clean so it matches the drawers a bit better. Because otherwise the stain wouldn't have looked the same on both sides, and I want it to be as even as possible. Now that the door is all nice and clean, and I've got the grooves cut out, I need to attach it somehow to the cupboard. So the old door had European style hinges, and I'm gonna keep it this way. And to make it super easy, I'm going to use the old door as a template. The bit that came with it is way too big, but luckily I've got the correct one, which for whatever reason didn't fit in the jig, so I had to come up with a different plan. So I simply copied the location of the holes from the original door onto the new ones. And I used this drill press thingy, whatever it's called, to make sure that the holes were actually straight or vertical. And because this thing comes with a depth stop, I basically checked the depth on the original door, I placed the stopper, and I drilled the holes exactly to the depth that I needed for the hinges. Perfect. Finally, here it is. And I know that some of you will say that these lines don't line up, but I didn't want these to be the same as on this side. I wanted to have a variety of sizes on this side, and I understand if it triggers some people, but it's okay with me. That was my plan. I got these painted yesterday. These are very heavy duty metal casters. I painted them with a mixture of black and gold paint, so they look kind of brass and aged, and I think they'll be perfect. I'm going to mix tung oil and turpentine. And I'm going to add some pigments, and this will be a stain but also the top coat, because this oil actually cures after a while and it hardens. I'm going to do the bottom first so I can attach the casters. As you can see, I didn't seal the pine, and pine is very difficult when it comes to staining. It often results in a very patchy finish, but this looks very nice. I've never used this before, but Ahti from AT Restorations, he does this all the time, and it looks like he's onto something. So now I can attach the casters. Fun fact, because it's Christmas time and obviously deliveries are running late, it's difficult to get stuff on time, and I needed loads of hardware for this project and didn't really have enough, so I had to really think to come up with a way to make it look cool and intentional, and I think I managed. I did think about doing another coat of this oil stain thing, but I know this is going to get darker with age, so I decided to leave it. Oh, and I also made 2 shelves for this cupboard side. Now about the hardware. So I bought this on Amazon and I was thinking about aging them with aging solution, but I realized that if you sand these lightly with a sanding sponge, it makes them look very brassy and aged and just way better. So that's what I did. And because I had different sizes of drawers, I want them to be visually separated by using different handles, and that's not just because I didn't have enough of one kind. I just thought it would have been boring if I just used one type for all the drawers. Before I show you the final results, I just wanted to say a huge thank you for being with me this past year. If you celebrate Christmas, have a wonderful time, and I'll see you in the next year.